How's it going, YouTube? It's been a long time since I've made a video. The last thing I did post was a, what do you call it, one of the surveys, basically. And one of the responses on there was that you guys wanted to see my entire collection. Today I'm going to show you pretty much everything that I have. Anything weapons related. I've got some air guns, I've got weird stuff, and then I've got the firearms. So right now I'm going to start off with the knives. I don't have anything super fancy, not like some of the channels that you see, but stuff that I've collected over the years. Like this guy here. There is no sheath for this. I picked this up. I don't actually remember. I don't remember if it was a yard sale or flea market or something. I like fixed blade knives. It was a good little knife. I used to keep it in my little tackle box. It is pretty cheap. It's one of those like you would find in a smoke shop or gas station or something like that. It's a Northwest Territory, so nothing special about it. It does keep a pretty decent edge when you're just using it for cutting bait and fishing line. So that's that one there. The second one that I've got here, I actually like, is the Gerber Strong Arm. I do like this one. I love my fixed blades. So I do have a few fixed blades. This is the nicest of the fixed blades that I have. It is in the desert tan color. I've used this one from, out in the woods. I have used it for cutting fishing bait. I've used it for opening boxes. It's just a great all-around knife. I do actually have the drop leg attachment that goes on this. This one is just for putting it on the belt, like if you're going to wear it sideways across, on your belt, which I do most of the time. I'll just wear it like that, pull it out when I need it, use it, put it back. So this is actually one of my favorite fixed blades that I have. This one here is another fixed blade. This one was cheap, dollar store fixed blade. Similar style as the Strong Arm, but extremely cheap. This was a 3-pack. It came with a yellow, a blue, and a green handle. Just cheap plastic handle. There isn't even a brand on it, made in China. But again, it does good. It's just a utility knife. I use it if I'm doing something stupid around the yard, or if I need to cut something, anyway, it's not for anything major. Oh, that's nice. It's so cheap, in fact, taking it apart, I don't know if you can see that there, but the little clasp is bent on it now, so that's useless. But that's that one. I like the way it looked, and I think I paid $3 for it. I don't care. Next one, another one of my favorite little fixed blades is the SOG. It is the little fixed blade knife. This one is, or used to be, everyday carry blade. Which one is this? What's the model number on this, or model name? It's the Instinct. It's the SOG Instinct. I love this little guy. I used to carry this one around a lot, but I don't carry it around as much as I used to. Now I usually carry a spring-assisted pocket knife, just because this is a little awkward to carry when I carry my pistols and my extra mags. It just gets more in the way than anything else. So still have it. I love it. It's not going anywhere, but I used to EDC that one. This one is a really cheap, really crappy blade. Bought this one to use for opening boxes when I worked at AutoZone, I believe it was. I was working there. This is one of the Extreme Ops by Smith & Wesson. It's very used. Everything on it is extremely loose and wobbly. The blade wobbles back and forth. It's no longer smooth opening because it just has little plastic inserts in there, and they've been worn out, and actually the tip, it's going to be really hard for you guys to see, but the tip is actually bent on it. I've cut everything from cable to wires to ropes to boxes. I used to use that all the time because it was cheap. I think I paid like $10 for it a few years ago. But it's useful. Everything I have here, none of it is all that expensive. It's all very useful. And it's just stuff that I like. I used to collect. I used to have over 300 knives and swords. I have these 19 that I'm showing you now. This one. I love this knife. Probably going to be picked on because of this. I bought this off of Wish. You can hate me on it later. But surprisingly, it has been a very good knife. It still has an edge. I have never sharpened this thing, and it is still not quite good enough to shave with, but it is still very sharp. If I can get it to show on there, you can actually see some tape residue where I still use this one at work as a box cutter. Like I said, I paid probably $7 or $8 for this on Wish 5 or 6 years ago, when all of the pocket cleaver styles were really popular. It is spring assisted. It's not a very strong or fast spring, but it is spring assisted open. It actually still opens and closes very smoothly. Everything is nice and tight on it. There's no wiggle or wobble, which again, for as much as I've used this and everything I've used this for, it's amazing it still works at all. And the blade is still sharp. Even from the tip all the way down, it's still sharp. And this has been, I used it when I worked security. I carried this. It has cut open boxes. It has broken down boxes where we've had to cut literally through the cardboard, not just the tape. I've cut wire with it. I've cut rope with it. I've opened plastic packages with it, and it still has an edge, surprisingly. Don't know what type of steel it's made out of, and it's by a company called Buckshot Knives, which already tells me it's some cheap Chinese thing, but it works. I don't have any complaints with it. Another SOG. This one is the Aegis. Nice spring assisted open, very strong spring on it. This one is not a liner lock, but this one is a pull tab. So you pull down on the tab, and that's what allows you to fold the blade. Also has a lock on the back, so you cannot accidentally open it. But it is a very nice knife. It's the Cryo 2 blade, so cryogenically it's frozen to harden it after it's been treated and hardened and everything else. It goes through a cryogenic phase, from what I understand. I don't know that much about it. I was a machinist. I know about mild steel, stainless steels, but as far as heat treating, I have hardened through heat treating and quenching, case hardening, all that type of stuff. I know nothing about the cryo treatments, but SOG seems to be a fan of that. I also have another one that's made with that Cryo 2 steel, but it's a really, really nice knife. It feels good in the hand. I've carried this one for a while, and actually I do need to hone this one, because although it's still sharp, I dropped it one day and got a couple little chips on the end. Not bad. It's just at the very, very edge of the blade. It can be, honed out, but I still love this little knife. Chinese-made buck knife, specific to Walmart. I don't remember which model this is. The Exert, that's what it is. The Buck Exert, which was a Walmart exclusive. It was like $20, $25, something like that. $24.98, I think it was. The only reason I even bought it was because I like the blade profile. I don't know what it is about it. It has sort of that old scimitar sort of shape to it, like the old big scimitar swords. I liked it. I've used this one, again, just general carry, box cutting, opening packages. It's still sharp. I've never sharpened it. It's got a little dull spot right there, but the rest of it is actually still really sharp. It doesn't, does it say? It doesn't show what steel it's made out of. I know that it's called the Exert. It is the model 780 from Buck Knives, but there is not a clear marking of what type of steel it is. Buck Knives have been around for a long time. The US made ones are excellent. Again, this one is Chinese made. It's still pretty smooth. I can flick it open. It's got a very positive lock to it, so no complaints from me. It does everything that I needed to do. This one is, I believe, a Kershaw. Is it? Yep, this one is the Kershaw. This one is the crap. I have two Kershaws. One is the Fatback and one is the Grinder. And I don't remember which one is which, to be honest. I believe this one is the Fatback and this one is the Grinder. We'll get to this one when I get back over to it, but I believe this one is the Grinder model. Let me see if it shows it. It does not say. It is a Kershaw. I actually bought this one from my job. I left one of my knives at home one day, needed one, so I bought this. I think it was like 25 or 30 bucks. It's a nice positive lock on it, spring assisted. It's not as strong as the SOGs, but it's perfectly fine for what it is. It's nice and smooth, both opening and closing. It opens with a nice snap. Just trying to see. It says Kershaw Knives, Kershaw patented. That's really all it says on it. But again, it was just something that was kind of bought sort of on a, because I needed one at the time. Another Walmart special here. This is a Gerber. Don't know if they have a specific name for it. I'm sure they do. I don't remember what it is. This was actually, was it bought last year? It was one of those deals where they, Walmart had the gift sets. And this was part of the gift set. I think it was this. It was a little small folder and like a little flat multi-tools, like a bottle opener and flathead screwdriver and stuff, like a little keychain deal. I bought it when they put them on clearance. I think it was like 10 bucks or something like that for the 3-pack. So I like Gerber knives. It's not the highest quality one they make, but again, it serves its purposes. This one is actually still very sharp. I've used this one. I don't really use this one as much as I have some of the other ones, but it has seen some use because I'll carry each one of these at different times, just whenever I feel like it. I change my knives about as much as I change my everyday carry pistol. I mean, it's nice and smooth. Don't have any issues. It is just a regular folder. It's not spring assisted or anything. It does have a nice little flat bar thumb stud on it that is reversible. The clip is also reversible on it. The pocket clip is. But, I mean, flicks open pretty fast. And it does have a good lock, so it's not just... And I threw it across the floor. Oh, well. Anyway, it locks up pretty tight, so you can't just flick it open like some of the other ones I have up here, which I kind of like that. The blade's not going to fall open on its own. At least not yet. This little guy right here has definitely seen better days. This particular one has no brand name on it. You can see there is a little safety switch back here. And that's because this is a push button automatic. I picked this up from a friend of mine. Her grandfather passed. I was helping her clean out his estate. And we found a bunch of his little pocket knives. And there's 2 of them here. I kept 2 of the pocket knives he had. This was one of them. It is missing a little scale insert here. It's just a little rubber insert that popped out. I kept it for a while. I don't know what happened to it. The blade is very sharp. There is 0 information on it. It is stamped with USA in big letters, which probably means Chinese made. The spring on it is actually pretty decent. Push button on the side there to fold it. It has a safety lock so it won't open in your pocket. Safety lock back down, and see if I can show you there. Just push the button here, and did I leave the lock on? Yeah, there we go. Push the button there, it pops open. Never really carried that one, don't really care for it. It's cheap plastic, handle and push button. I don't know how old it is. Again, no brand name on it. Even the little scale that was there was just a little crosshatch pattern on it. Same as it is on the back underneath the clip, if you guys can see that. Well, it's a cool little knife to add to the collection, but I wouldn't really use it for much. This little guy here is very stiff. There we go. Yeah, little cheap tack force. I think I bought this one at work too. This one was like 15 bucks. It does have a little spring in it. It's a very weak spring. I mean, tack force is known for being, El Cheapo dollar store type knife. Again, it is spring loaded. It does feel pretty comfortable. It has the little finger grooves built into it. It gives you a pretty good grip whenever you're trying to cut something. I've used this when I work for cutting boxes. That's about the only thing I've ever used it for. I've never really carried it, so not a big deal there. Another SOG. You can tell I like my SOGs. This one, honestly, don't remember the model of this one. This one is the Trident. So this one is their emergency services knife, or their first responders style knife. Got a nice big blade on it. When the blade is folded, which again, this one is just like the Aegis, you have a little pull button on each side, pull it down to fold the blade. When the blade is closed, the closed blade acts as a seatbelt cutter. It has a lanyard hole, and in the top it has a really small, I don't know if you guys can see that, get a little bit closer there, it has a really small, right there, glass breaker. I don't know what the glass breaker is made out of. I don't remember. I don't remember if it's just a hardened steel or if that little spike up there is like carbide. I don't remember. Just like the Aegis, it does have the lock so it won't open in your pocket, and it does have a nice strong spring in it. Not as strong as the Aegis model, because that one, when it opens, you can feel it jerk in your hand. This one is not as strong. Still gets the job done. This one is the other one with the Cryo 2 blade, the cryogenically treated blade. It is ridiculously sharp. I don't have any paper here to actually cut it open, or cut the paper to show you the sharpness of each blade. To be honest, a blade is a blade. Yes, you can get them ridiculously sharp, but the sharper you get it, the faster it's going to dull. The thinner the blade, I don't put a lot of stock into the, oh well, I can go out and I can slice paper thin sheets out of a tomato with it. That's not going to help you when you're out trying to cut ropes and shit. Sharp is sharp. There are different levels, but I don't need it to be razor blade for the stuff I'm doing out there. So I don't really care about all that. But it is a very nice knife. This one was around 100 bucks. That's what I paid for that one. This one was bought at a flea market. It is another tack force. Yep, it's another tack force. Been looking for a little karambit for a long time because I like carrying these as part of my everyday carry, my self-defense. So I bought one of these at the flea market. I like this, but this one has been replaced by one you're going to see in just a few minutes. The only thing I don't like about this is when you have it in your hand like you're supposed to use it, which is, you're supposed to carry it like this, you can't get the blade open with your finger in it. So you have to flip the blade out, and then you can get it in your hand the way it's supposed to be. And you also can't close the blade because the blade goes through the finger hole there. Just like that. So yeah, you don't really want to have your finger in there. That's really the only downside to it. I do like that it's spring loaded. It is cheaper steel. It holds an edge fairly well. It is pretty sharp. I have honed it a few times to get the blade back to its original sharpness. I used to use this one, carry it all the time, and it was the box cutter, basically, when I was at work, because my work does not allow us, or they don't like for us, put it that way, they don't like for us to carry firearms in the store. So all of us carry knives, and we usually carry something big and stupid like this, but this one has been replaced. So we could use it for self-defense and as a box cutter. But I'll get to its replacement in just a minute. One last one. Which model is this? SOG Fielder. This is the last SOG. I think I've had 4 now. So 1, 2, 3. Yes, this is the 4th SOG. This one, unlike the others, is more of a typical EDC. It's built like some of your more classic folding knives. It has, a really, really nice blade on it. Actually, I took off a little bit of skin there. That is really sharp. I do carry this one quite often. I like the way it looks. Just has that classic look. It is a liner lock. It is not spring assisted in any way whatsoever. I like the polished nickel look with the, that's your traditional would normally have bone or wood. This one is a G10, of course, with the SOG emblem incorporated into it. A lot of people don't like this. They say the thumb stud is kind of hard to get to. It is recessed a little bit. It fits really snug to the cutout, and it's pretty much flush up there with the handle. But for me, I can either just pull it out really slow, or if I push from the edge and just follow around the indentation, I can usually get it to flick out. So I don't have any problems with it, but I know that was a big complaint with a lot of people, is the way the thumb stud is. It isn't very pronounced. It's a little more difficult to get to than some other blades. But the blade on this, I'm not sure what this one. Yeah, there's no special markings for the steel on this one. It's just the Fielder. There's the only marking on it, SOG Fielder. But I do like this just because of the classic look. This one is the second one that I got from my friend's grandfather's collection. This one is the Cutting Horse by Smith & Wesson. I've never actually carried this one just because I do like the curved, the hawksbill or karambit style blade. Don't really care for the handle on it. I keep it just because I like the blade basically, but I've never actually carried this one. I had this one before I grabbed this one. And not only that, I'm not a big fan of the Smith & Wesson knives. A lot of people, Smith & Wesson, they make good guns. Yeah, knives are made in China. They just put their name on them. It's not a bad blade. It's still very sharp. I don't know how long her grandfather had it. I don't know what he ever used it for, if anything, because he had a little box, just had some random stuff in it. Most of it was broken, or some of them he had for so long, he had sharpened the blades down to like nubs, so they weren't worth keeping. This one looked like it was still pretty new, doesn't look like it had been sharpened at all, so I kept that one. And again, I like the blade shape on it. That's about it. Of course, then we have the, again, not sure which one this one is. I believe this one is called the Fatback by Kershaw. You guys saw this one a little bit earlier. It's just a regular folder. It is spring assisted. It's got the little flipper on the back. Positive lock. Now that one has held an edge pretty well. You can actually hear it digging into my ridges on my fingerprint there, if you can hear that. I carried this one for a little while. This one was actually one that I left at home when I ended up buying the other one, because I didn't have one at work and I needed one at the time. I'm going to skip this one for a second. This one I bought online just because I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger than this. But it's just a little push dagger. Not really good for anything. If you actually tried to punch something or someone with this, it'd probably do more damage to your hand. But it's a cool little neck knife. I mean, you could use it for, you know, a letter opener or something like that. It isn't extremely sharp. It does have a little edge to it, but it would need to be sharpened. Now the tip is extremely sharp, but the edges aren't all that sharp. It's more of a novelty thing, you know. Oh look, I've got a neck knife. And that's pretty much all it is. But it's there, it's part of the collection, so you guys get to see that. This is the one that has replaced this one. So this is an automatic knife. I kind of get away with carrying this because it is a box cutter. It's not really a knife. But this one is an auto knife. It is a switchblade. I think I paid 50 bucks for it. It's pretty hefty. It has a decent spring to it, but if anything gets in the way of it, it will just kind of free fall there. And you can just flick it back out and then it works again. So, not a big deal. The blade on this is, I mean, it's made in China. It's made to look like Damascus, but you can literally feel the painted pattern on it. I've never felt real Damascus that had deep ridges in it like that, like this one does. Even on the flat spots, you can feel like pretty deep ridges, and I think that's just where it's painted on. I've never tried to actually scratch it off to see if it is, but the edge stays very sharp. I carry this one with me most of the time. I don't tell people it's a knife if they ask. I'm like, no, this is just my box cutter. But that is the knife collection that I have. Next up is going to be some of the odd items that I have. All right, I'm back. Now here's the little bit odder items that I have. I really wouldn't say odd, they're just less common. I think everybody at some point in time when they were a kid has had a slingshot. I've had this for a while. Marksman, I'm pretty sure it's like a Daisy or something. I've had to replace the band on it one time since I've had it, which it ended up dry rotting. I pulled it back literally about that far and it just fell apart because this thing has been in my garage for years and years. I do have a little bit of ammo for it. I take it out every now and again and just play around with it just because I'm a big kid still. Still decently strong. It's not exactly the best thing in the world, but it's decent. And then I've got this. I have a blowgun. Again, I'm a big kid. I like stupid stuff. We have your basic little wire darts down here. You've got your little stun darts. You've got your big spikes. I've got broadheads down here on the end. It's pretty fun. I just target shoot with it. I don't even know who made this one. Who was this one by? It's the Terminator blowgun. But it came with the full set of accessories with it. I've got the, I don't know which ones are which here. I know these are just little stun ones, like you can hit people with it. It's not really going to hurt them. They're just plastic. There's nothing in them. These right here are, they basically have like metal screws, like screw heads on them, so they hit pretty hard. I wouldn't actually hit anybody with any of these, but those are going to hit pretty hard. And then of course you've got your massive spikes, got your little wire spikes, and then you've got these little guys here. I don't know if you can see that, but these are broadheads. Most of the time I don't ever use the broadheads for anything. And I'll sometimes just set up a box filled with newspapers or something and just shoot at it, just for fun. But yeah, I'm a big kid. I like dumb things. I'm actually going to clean that up back here. Now on to the air guns. SIG P226. This is an air gun. You can see it is unloaded, but this one does shoot BBs and pellets. The little magazine is double-sided, rotary style magazine. Your CO2 cartridge goes back in the back, and this is a blowback design with a threaded barrel. This is the P226 Navy edition. It's got the little anchor on it there. It does have a safety and a decocker, just like the real model. It is all metal, just like the real deal. That's actually a pretty fun gun. It's pretty accurate. I haven't really played with it a lot since I've had it, because in my city, technically, it is illegal to even shoot BB guns inside the city limits. So I'll take it out every now and again. If I go out to my father-in-law's house where I used to do my shooting, these are still okay out there, but I can't shoot my real firearms. So I'll take this out there and let my nieces and nephews and friends play with it, the kids play with that. And then the last of the odd stuff is this guy. Old Daisy Model 25 pump BB gun. I love this stupid little thing. This one is an older model. I'm not exactly sure how old it is. I know I had 2 of these. I actually gave one to a friend of mine that had like a list of 8 patent numbers on it. This one only has 2 patent numbers. But every time I look up the older ones, there's always little small differences in them. Some of them have a straight stock on them. This one is got the little lump in it there. Some of them have different number of ridges on the pump, and this one does. So I don't know if over the years parts have been changed on it. I don't really know much about it. I got it in the condition that it's in, and I kind of want to refinish it. It's got a little rust on it. Some of the paint or bluing is coming off in spots. I'm thinking about just kind of sanding it down, re-bluing it. The unique thing about these is that the magazine is the barrel. So I unscrew the barrel and pull that out, and that is your magazine. That's where all of your little BBs go. I honestly don't know how many it holds. I've never taken the time to count. I just fill it up until it's full, and then get this thing back in there is kind of a pain in the rear end. There we go. Got it. It just screws back in. Of course, there is nothing in it, and it isn't the strongest thing in the world to begin with. But pumps, pull it back, and that's it. There we go. But yeah, it's not extremely powerful. It's something like 280 feet a second. Something, pretty mild. It does have the flip-up sights on the back, so that one there is a peep sight on the back there. And then you have your standard little V-notch sight, and of course your front post sight on it. It's not going to be all that accurate, but it's actually pretty cool that they took the time to put the sights on there like that. And I know these things have been made from, I think, the 30s or 40s all the way up into the 90s, maybe even 2000s. They were still producing models or special models. The one that I gave away was a 75th anniversary Daisy. It had an emblem in the stock here. This one is a little bit older one. I kept this one. The other one was in a little bit better condition, and one of my friends wanted it, so I ended up just giving it to him because I didn't pay for these. I was given both of them. Again, my friend's grandfather, he had a bunch of these and a bunch of parts. I didn't take any of the parts, but I took the 2 models that were together that were working, and then ended up giving one of them away. I'm keeping this one. So anyway, that's it for all the weird stuff. Next, I'm going into the handguns. So, all right, here we go. Quick overview of all the handguns. Most of these you guys have seen already, but I'm just going to run through them real quick. Heritage Rough Rider, 22 long rifle, 22 Magnum cylinder. Not extremely accurate, but it's decent. It's a pretty fun gun. Ruger Wrangler 22 long rifle. Very accurate, very nice gun. A little more expensive than the Rough Rider, but very, very well made. Love this as far as the 22 goes. Phoenix HP 22A, little 22 semi-auto. Not bad, not the most reliable thing in the world. It's very cheap, 150 bucks. I mean, it is what it is. I bought it just as a range toy. That's the only really thing that it's really good for. The Star Model S 380. It's like a mini 1911. This particular model was made in 1949. It does have the target style grips on it. Pretty accurate, very soft shooting little pistol in 380. .38 Special Derringer, little 2-shot. I actually have not shot this one yet. I had one before, ended up trading it and getting another one just like it because I do kind of like these, but this one I have not shot yet, so hopefully soon I'll be able to take this one out to the range and get something done with it. Still pretty cheap. This one was I'm trying to remember who made it. It was Cobra originally, and then I think it's Behrman Arms is who took over Cobra. They're not the best in the world, but we'll see how this one runs, and I'm pretty sure if there's anything wrong with it, I can fix it myself. But that's a little Derringer. Ruger P95. Big, thick, ugly. Only holds 15 rounds in the magazine. Shoots great. Love this gun. It is a bit dated. These came out in the 90s, I think, went through the early 2000s before they were discontinued. But it's actually a pretty nice little pistol. One of the odd things about it is the magazine release. It's not a button. You have to push forward with your finger. It's a forward push, not a push in. So you actually have to, push forward towards the muzzle to get the magazine to come out. A little bit odd, but great shooting gun, extremely accurate. I love this one. All right, on to the next side. I've got my Girsan, which is the Beretta 92 clone. Love this little pistol. Almost everything from the 92 fits this particular pistol, except for the barrel and locking block. They are kind of a little different, but all of the grips, all of the magazines. As a matter of fact, I've got some Beretta 92 mags that I use with this. Never had an issue with them. Well, they run. They don't lock the slide back on the last round, but they feed fine. The not locking back part, it's not really a big concern to me. I use the standard magazine that comes with it, and if I need a backup, I use the Beretta mags. When I'm on the range, I keep shooting until it goes click. Not exactly a big deal, but Beretta mags do work with it. They just don't lock the slide back. This is the Taurus 627 Tracker, the 4-inch model. It's a 357 Magnum, also shoots 38 specials. It is a 7-shot revolver. Extremely accurate, adjustable sights, nice bright orange front sight. I've already done a review on this, and surprisingly, through the few hundred rounds that I have through this so far, nothing has come loose. So I always keep an eye on that to see if anything is going to work itself loose. I know a lot of people say that they have issues with the crane screw coming loose and the whole cylinder falling off, the cylinder and crane coming off. Mine is on there nice and tight, never had an issue. I've never seen any kind of issues on the front of the cylinder where, possible forcing cone issues or, misalignments. The timing is good, the lockup is good on it, no issues there. Got my Rock Island 1911 A1 service model, full-size 5-inch 45 ACP. I did replace the really light wood grips. I'm going to end up refinishing those and kind of staining those a little darker because they were super, super light and it looked weird. And I made sure on my hand checkering the factory grips that came on it. So I bought these on Amazon. They were pretty cheap, 10, 12 bucks. And just screwed those on. They're purple-ish dragons, depending on how you look at it. They can be purple or pink. But it's a great shooting little 1911. Again, it's a Rock Island. It's not the highest quality thing in the world, but it runs. I've never had an issue with it. I've run hollow points. I've run full metal jackets. I've run steel cased. I've run brass. Everything that I can put through this. It eats it all. I have no issues with its reliability. I will say that the original old A1 style sights on this thing kind of suck because I'm used to the 3 dots and all that. They're not bad once you get used to them, but after shooting everything else that has better sights, this is kind of awkward to get used to. And another Rock Island, the 10mm. This one is the Ultra, the Rock Ultra, full size in 10mm. This one has the bull barrel. So to take this one down, there is not a barrel bushing on there. You have to pull it back and use a little pin, which I've got some from Kimber that I bought, little takedown pins. So once you pull the slide back, the little pin goes in and then you can disassemble the pistol. 8 rounds of 10mm. It is very, very accurate. It does have fiber optic front sight. Does it have fiber optic rears? No fiber optic rears. It's just white dot rears and fiber optic front. But the rear sight is fully adjustable for windage and elevation. Unlike the A1 style sights, it is just your classic 1911 style with your grip safety. This one, unlike the A1 style, does have ambidextrous safety lever on it. And it's got the the G10 grips rather than the wood. Alright. I've got my Springfield Hellcat. Everybody knows the Hellcats. There's videos on them everywhere. This one is the OSP, so it's the optics ready. 9mm. I've got 3 mags for it. I've got the 11 round. I've got 2 13 rounds for it. This is usually what I carry if I know I'm going places that they're not gun-free zones, because I'm not going to carry in a gun-free zone and get myself in trouble. But at the same time, if there are places that are less friendly to open carry, I'll usually carry this because it's very easy to conceal. And last, for the handguns, I've got my Sig Sauer SP 2022. This one is in 357 SIG, but if you'll give me a second here, get up out on a little stand. I also have the 40 caliber barrel for it, so I can run 357 SIG and 40 Smith & Wesson. Because right now 357 SIG is getting hard to find and it's still overly expensive. So that is going to be it for all of the handguns. I'll be right back with the long guns. Alright, so for the long guns, I'm standing up at the back end of my room. You can see the 2 that I've got sitting up here on the wall. This one is the Radical Firearms. This is my 300 Blackout. Love my little 300 Blackout. I say little, but it is a full-size 16-inch. I do have the what they call the castle style brake on it. I've got the angled grip. I've got the pop-up sights on each side of that. Got a little red dot on it. Just a little cheap fire field. It does what I needed to do. And then I've got a flashlight mounted on the side, which some of you have seen that in other videos. So this one here, I've got my strobe, high and low. So it has several modes on it. And this one also has the bad lever on it. For, just being able to reach up and pop the bolt closed on it. Absolutely love my rifle. This is my favorite rifle of all of them. It's the one that I shoot the most, and it's the one that I shoot the most accurately. So. There we go. Okay. And I know I did a video on this not too long ago. This is my Pioneer Arms AK 7.62-39. It's got US palm furniture on it, nothing special. Basic AK. This one is Polish made. And you know, a lot of people were telling me, oh, it's gonna break, it's gonna break, it's gonna break. I don't really care. It was cheap. It was pretty cheap. I paid like $700 for it, $750, something like that. I don't really care about it, and anything that goes wrong except for the front trunnion, I can fix it. So not all that big a deal. And I pretty much avoided the warranty anyway because I did put a rail on it, and the company's like, any modifications towards the warranty? I don't care. It was cheap as shit. I don't care. But this is actually a pretty fun gun though. I do have many hundred rounds through it. This is something that I don't like about it. It's that stupid little butt pad that opens up for a storage compartment in the butt stop. But besides that, I mean, great rifle. Absolutely love it. It's not as accurate as the AR is, but it's still pretty fun. I actually go out and bump fire this quite often just to show off when I'm at the outside range. And hopefully I'll be able to get some video of me shooting most of these things pretty soon. I do have a range I can use. Right now it's only pistols. So as soon as I can find one that I can do rifles on, I'll try to do some more rifle videos. So that is the Pioneer Arms AK. What's next? Here we go. Got this guy here. Most of you are going to know exactly what this is. This is a GSG-16 with a 22 long rifle. It's kind of a really bad knockoff of an MP5, but it's a fun gun, very fun. You still have the HK slap on it. This had a faux suppressor on it, and I've got, actually I have no idea what that is. Oh, it's a Barska little red dot scope. It's actually kind of a nice little red dot. But I got it discounted because it was a display model that we don't sell anymore at my normal job. So I was able to get it pretty cheap. And I think it's like a, yeah, it's a 4x28, which I don't really necessarily need that, but I was able to pick it up pretty cheap, so I slapped it on. Anyway, that's the GSG 22, or the GSG 16 and 22. And the last of the rifles is going to be basically the only bolt action that I own. This is the Savage Minimalist 17 HMR. A little 10mm magazine with his bolt action. And I have a Bushnell, crap, I can't remember which model it is. What is this? It's the Banner 2. So, Bushnell Banner 2 on it. It was pretty cheap. It was an $80 scope. So, I stuck it on there. I really like the wood on that. And it has the threaded barrel on it. It's not really a bull barrel, but it's not the little thin barrel that a lot of them have on it either. It's sort of a mid-sized barrel with the little thread protector on it. And most of you guys know I like to color my stuff in. So if you can see it there, but you can see I did some gold around the thread protector, and also with the model and everything on there. I actually did that in gold as well, just because I thought it looked nice. Another one you guys have seen before, little H&R Partner 410 single shot. I actually have a lot of fun with this. I never wanted a 410 before, Again, this is one that was given to me. It's a fun little gun though. I've never in my life wanted a 410, and then I was given one, and it's actually pretty fun. Now my father-in-law actually has the large version of this. I just restored for him. He's got a 1949 H&R Topper Deluxe that I had to strip and refinish and open it up and, you know, kind of refresh some of the springs and stuff in it because it wasn't working. It was rusted up. I mean, it's from 1949. His dad had it. It got passed down to him, and nobody's really taking care of it. So I ended up restoring that for him. And eventually, that'll be mine. I also have another shotgun here that I don't have because he has it. I gave it to him while his was broken and let him keep it. It's a Mossberg 500. Nothing, again, special. Very basic. One of the most common shotguns out there. The pump that I kept, because I don't really trust it. It hasn't been bad yet, but I don't trust it because it is super cheap. I gave him the Mossberg because I have several other guns I can use. Little Escort. Normally you can find these things on sale at some places like 150, 160 bucks. I think MSRP on these things are supposed to be like 180 or something stupid. I don't even know. I know they're extremely cheap. But so far, it has been fun. It works fine. 18-inch barrel. It's a home defense version. It's just a standard pump. 5-round tubes. 2 3/4, 3-inch shells. I fired everything through it that I thought I would ever need to, all the way up to triple aught buck, and it handles it fine. No issues yet. I'm expecting something to wear out on it pretty soon. You know, pretty cheap Turkish shotgun. And the last one, which again, you guys have already seen, is my VR60. Rock Island VR60, made by Daria Arms in Turkey. I actually like the Daria Arms shotguns. They make a lot of competition style shotguns. They make a lot of hunting style, the classic over-unders, double barrels, stuff like that. This one has been pretty fun. The only thing that I would say is, if anybody out there is thinking about getting a magazine fed shotgun, whether it's the pump style magazine fed or the semi-auto, the bullpups, whatever, do not leave your magazines loaded if you're going to keep like bird shot or smaller shot in it. They will not run. I've noticed that I did that with one magazine because I have 3 magazines for this. I've got this one that's in it, which is a 5-round, and then I have a 10-round and another 5-round, and these do stay loaded. But if you're using one like this and you're keeping like bird shot or target loads in it, the pressure from them being stacked on top of each other usually will crush down the end of the shells, because they are plastic or soft plastic, and these springs are pretty strong. And it will cause them to be out of round, and they won't feed properly as you're shooting. So slugs, no problems with them. Buckshot, no problems with it. You can keep them loaded all the time. That's what I have loaded up there, you know, home defense and all. I'm not really going to choose that one as home defense, but if it's the first thing I happen to get to, I'll use it. And I don't really think I'm going to have much to deal with that, because nobody really messes with me. But just in case. It's there, and they do stay loaded like that. All of my firearms pretty much stay with a full magazine in them, even if there isn't one in the chamber. Most of the pistols, even the ones I was showing just a few minutes ago, have one in the chamber. They stay loaded, which is why I get my finger off the trigger and didn't, you know, try not to point any of them at the camera or myself. And if I did, I knew that it was unloaded. And anyway, I'm very safe with my stuff. I'm not just going to point it around, put my finger on the trigger and be playing with it like some of the guys that you'll see online. Yeah, not going to do that. But yeah, you know, train of thought, that train's been off the rails for a long time. So that's everything that I have in my collection right now. Except one, I did forget one item. I forgot my crossbow. This is the Barnett DRT 385. So it's a pretty decently strong little crossbow. I only have one. I only have one bolt in there at the moment. I actually have a bunch more sitting back there. They're just not in the trigger. It's actually a really nice crossbow. It has the crank with it. But yeah, anyway. Enough of that. This video has been long enough as it is. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much. I will give you a quick update real fast before I sign off. I have actually started my business, and I have started the process of getting my FFL. So hopefully, sometime within the next month, I guess, another month will make it about 2 months since I've sent it in. I'll hear something back and be able to know if I can actually buy and sell firearms. If I am, all of this stuff is being moved out of here because this is my personal stuff. This will actually be my room for the business. At the moment, I do still sell accessories and ammo and all that stuff locally, just whenever. Depends on what somebody wants, I'll order it in for them, make a few bucks off of it. But hopefully, I'll hear something back soon. Let me know what you guys think about the video. I appreciate you watching. Have a good day.